I decided that I'm also going to remove the shutter plate because there's a lot of dust inside, and that way it's just easier to clean. But before that I need to remove the top plate, and there's a few screws holding them. But first of all I need to remove this screw such that I can pull out the shaft of this gear. And that is I need to cock the shutter to do that, because otherwise I cannot reach the shaft. That should be enough. Okay, I believe it's off already. And then there's one screw here, one there, and one there. And I install the back because that way it stands better. Oh, and before I completely remove it, I release the shutter again. Very well. Now to remove the shutter plate, I need to lift off some of the leatherette, and I use a sharp screwdriver for this. Very carefully here. I also need to apply some solvent. The rest I leave on, because I only need to reach this part. Now the screws are not seeable yet, but there's the first one. Second. And the last one. There's no washers underneath. Very good. So now it will be very easy to clean this part. Maybe I also will take out some of the gears if they don't run smoothly. And obviously everything in the back, in the film back. And also I will make sure that the mirror and light flap go up very easily. That is very important. I have now cleaned all those 3 parts. This I'm not going to take further apart because the focus just works perfect. This I also have already cleaned the mirror. I hope I do not touch it again. And there's one more thing I need to replace, is this little old piece of rubber foam. The purpose of it is to dampen the light flap when it flips up. But as it is very old, the stuff already came off like this. And that makes the viewfinder very dirty. So I just take it off. Clean that spot with a bit of naphtha. And then I have already prepared a new piece of rubber foam. That's good. The same procedure is going to be happen for this piece of rubber foam. Purpose is to dampen the mirror when flipping it up. And this is the new piece. Okay. Also, this is a piece of, this is not glass, this is something like acrylic and should really not be cleaned by any solvent. Instead I try to use window cleaner, but as you see it's already very mud and I don't think I can change that now. But the needle and the handle are easy to see, so that's all that is important. I will now put the shutter plate back into position. Next would come the top plate with the gearbox and the exposure meter. The gearbox normally works. I've never witnessed that there's something wrong here, so I have never needed to repair this. Comes on like this, but as a preparation I need to install this little shaft here first. It must be in this position. Once I installed this here, I will loosen the screw again and push the shaft inside this gear, and then it's in position. Also, this is in the released state. So this should also be in the released state, and that's in this position. Okay, now it's in position, I think. And yeah, I forgot something. This needs to be put in first. Oh, like so. But from the other side. Okay. Now when I turn this, the fork should turn, and it doesn't. There it does. That looks good. Okay, now I can tighten all the screws. Not to forget, of course, to push the shaft inside. Now it's in position. Now comes the prism back on. I already cleaned it. It's possible to open the prism in case there's something ugly inside, but in most of the cases it is only necessary to clean the surfaces. Comes on like this. Now remember the washers. This one was underneath on the right side. This one was above. Now I can tighten all the screws. Okay. Next would be to put back the shutter unit to the camera. And I do not really adjust the focus now. I do that later. First of all, I want to check the shutter speeds, and after that the focus. All is in the released state. The position between this gear and that gear is more or less a guessing, and then try and error. I can already try now. I hold the shutter with my left hand and cock it with my right hand. It does not wind on this side all on, so that's not the correct position. Okay, this time I can cock the shutter completely, but it does not wind completely, so it does not open again. But that's okay for now. I can fine adjust it over here. So I will lock it in place for now. Okay, to do the fine adjustment, I need to remove this gear and change the state between that, and then put it back. So this gear must be turned clockwise 1 tooth. Why does it not come off yet? Maybe like so. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I had to remove this shutter unit as well as this gear again, and readjusted it because it was not right before. The way I test and know that it's correct now is I set the timing to B, to bulb mode, and then I cock the shutter, and notice that the shutter blades should be fully open now. And then I release and see that it's still open, and when I take back my screwdriver, then it closes. So the B setting is really important to test here. Also, of course, I can check the time, so there should be 1 second. It's not adjusted yet, it's too short, but it works. Also, what should be tested is that the sequence is correct. So while I slowly wind, before the shutter blades open, now they start to open, the light flap should be closed, and it is closed in this case. This is to prevent the film from getting light while you cock the shutter. Now everything opens. Good. Another thing to test is set it to the fastest speed, 1/500th of a second, and check that the flaps go up in the correct, fast enough, and they do. So you should see a very short light come through. If you don't see that, the mirror or the light flap go not up fast enough. That's it for this.